Hello, everyone. Welcome to the third workshop and the third sponsors workshop for the Kaia Wave Stablecoin Summer Hackathon. My name is Sean, as you guys are probably sick of me by now, but we're here, we're all here. Today we have Robin, who is the DevRel engineer at Avail. He'll be giving us the workshop on access multi-chain liquidity in a single click on your app. But before we start, I just have some housekeeping stuff to get out of the way because obviously we have to do the standard intro things. So essentially, the Kaia Wave Stablecoin Summer Hackathon is our major global hackathon for 2025 by Kaia. We have basically a 1 million, almost a 1 million prize pool in prizes as well as investment opportunities, as well as the top 5 finalists will get to fly into Singapore to basically demo at token 2049. So with that out of the way, I think I'll hand it off to Robin. Enough dilly-dallying from myself. He will be just starting. I'm not sure if that was good, but yeah. So I'll just hand it off to you, and yeah, I'll leave. I'll still be here, but I'll just remove myself from the screen because I don't think that's kind of necessary for me to be all the time. Cool. So yeah, take it away.
Hey everyone, hello. Nice to be here finally. Yeah, I'm excited to kind of show you what we at Avail are cooking, right? And what you in this hackathon can also probably use to kind of enhance your applications and like take it up a notch to the next level, right? So today, I'm obviously going to be talking about trying to, like, how can your app access multi-chain liquidity with just a click, right? And the problem here we're trying to solve is that as an app, when you try to build and when you try to actually go out there and you go out in the real world, liquidity matters, right? Especially most of the apps out there today that matters are in some sort of fashion trading apps, DeFi apps, some kind of app that kind of moves liquidity. And at that point your app needs liquidity and users need to want to like have to put liquidity in the application. And usually the limitation or the bottleneck here is the not everyone is probably on the chain that you're deployed on, or they are just lazy to bridge to just use your application, no matter like how innovative it is, right? And what we at Avail kind of allow you to do is that we allow you to access liquidity from across multiple chains into your application, right? So before I actually go ahead and kind of begin talking about how all of this works, let me just actually tell you a story, right? So today, I mean, as I was preparing for this workshop last night, um even before that, right? Like I make some trades. I want to make some trades on Hyperliquid. I'm sure most of you may have heard of Hyperliquid or like any trading platform. It doesn't matter, but I was using Hyperliquid, right? So this was me last night. I was trying to make some trades. And then I realized I wanted to add some liquidity. I want to add more funds into Hyperliquid so I can trade more. But then I realized, oh, I don't have any USDC on Arbitrum to deposit into Hyperliquid. So, for some context, for those who don't know, in order to put your funds into Hyperliquid on their official app, you need to have USDC on Arbitrum, and only then you can deposit it from Arbitrum into Hyperliquid, right? And as you can see, like on my slide here, that I had zero. So I mean, this has frustrated me because now I have to now figure out where I have liquidity from, like where do I have my USDC. Like if I don't have it on Arbitrum, do I have it on Optimism or Polygon or Scroll or Base maybe, or maybe even Kaia? Like where do I have my liquidity on, right? And now I have to go and find out where I have to kind of where I can like bridge, like which bridges support to Arbitrum, and then I have to go and bridge my tokens and all of that stuff. So this is frustrating. If I've got liquidity across multiple chains, now it's going to be much more of a headache. But wait, I have an idea. I work at Avail. That means we have something called as Nexus, right? And with Nexus enabled, essentially we've kind of built a demo where you can access cross-chain liquidity from multiple chains into Hyperliquid directly. And when I enable Nexus, now I can deposit USDC from not only Arbitrum but everywhere. And now you can see that my USDC balance is no longer zero, but it is around $10 in the screenshot. But I mean, you can extrapolate it to how much ever you want it to be, right? But essentially, the core point is this $10 is not your USDC on Arbitrum, but it's USDC across multiple chains. It's a unified total balance across chains that I have in the screenshot here, right? And once I do click deposit, now what happens is that Nexus kind of creates an intent where it would source the liquidity that I have across these four different chains. So I'm no longer just using the USDC on Arbitrum. Now I'm using USDC on Scroll, Base, OP Mainnet, and so on, bringing it all together and depositing it into Hyperliquid. And as you can see, there's obviously some fees and all of that. You can see the breakdown, you can see the intent that is being generated. And once I click OK, the transaction takes place, and boom, I got the liquidity I want into the app that I want to use. I don't have to leave the app to go and use another bridging application, connect my wallet there, and all of that jazz. I just use the in-app experience, right? So what's the lesson here? Like, don't be a noob. Use Avail Nexus. Be an expert, right? So I mean, yeah, the point here being that Nexus anyway basically allows your app to connect to liquidity from multiple chains. This includes Kaia, by the way, and other. We support 10 plus chains, including Optimism, Avalanche, Linear, Scroll, Base, Polygon, Ethereum, Arbitrum, and much more. Even Hyperliquid and Kaia and so on and more, right? And yeah, that means when you deploy an app on Kaia, right, you are no longer limited by the liquidity there, right? So now the first question that might come up by anyone who's watching this stream right now is that wait a second, is this Nexus thing that I'm just talking about a bridge? Well, that is a fair question to ask, but my answer would be no. Bridges suck, right? Why do I say bridges suck? Because it's usually always a different interface I have to go to. It is not in app, and I have to again, connect my wallet, do all of that stuff. Then I have to come back, and maybe if the bridge does not support the tokens that I want, or like the chain that I want, then I have to go and find whatever bridge that it does support. And and sometimes even the waiting times for these bridges can be frustrating. Like, there are some bridges that take 10 to 15 minutes. There are some bridges that take maybe just 10 seconds. But I mean, why go through all of that hassle, right? So bridges suck because, well, they allow one-to-one actions, right? So in the beginning, when I was talking about I don't have liquidity on Arbitrum, but I pulled in liquidity from four different chains to get to my required amount. Now imagine trying to bridge that, right? Imagine trying to bridge liquidity from four different chains just to use one app. So bridges basically have a one-to-one action. That is one-to-one. You bridge from chain A to chain B, whatever your source destination is to your whatever your source chain is to your destination chain. And if you have to source liquidity from multiple chains, now it's n times one-to-one actions. That means you're doing an action n times, because you have to again connect your wallet, source, destination, approve, transact, approve, again change your source chain, transact, right? You do that n times to get to the result that you want. But Avail Nexus is an interoperability toolkit. So that means where you can build anywhere and get liquidity from anywhere. And that allows you to basically envision like n-1 actions. That is, you can source liquidity from n number of chains, to your preferred destination chain and token. And not only that, it is not only bridging that you can do with Nexus. What you can also do is, with that amount of liquidity that you've sourced, you can now execute some sort of function, right? And what do I mean by execute? That means the SDK basically allows you to execute any smart contract on any of the supported chains, whatever function, whatever contract address, it does not matter. It supports every, like, as long as it's a contract on the chain that is supported, you can execute, right? So you this means that you can even do complex mechanisms like, bridging liquidity from elsewhere, depositing it into Aave, or swapping that token into Uniswap and then doing something else with it. Basically, you can build modular stuff on top of that. So that's something pretty cool, right? And that's like the killer function that we have. Like, basically, you can bridge and execute, and I'll show you a demo really quick, soon, what I mean by that, right? But yeah, I mean, when it comes to Kaya, right, as you guys are building in this hackathon, um, the the total addressable market, right? Like, even after the hackathon, if you decide to go and try to deploy your project in the real world, the number one problem you will eventually start to realize is that the total addressable market can be limited at points, and your liquidity for your app, when compared to the rest of Web3, is not where it could have been, right? And what we kind of enable with Nexus is that now you don't have to worry about that, because you can just build once, you can deploy once, and scale everywhere, because now you can get access to the liquidity from wherever it is. You don't have to rely on users having to bridge to whatever ecosystem that you are deployed on, right? And basically, you go from this small circle to being able to cover the rest of Web3. And that's what we kind of enable with Nexus. So, what benefits am I even getting by using this? You no longer need multi-chain deployments and monitoring across multiple chains. You can have a one-click seamless UI experience, abstract away the concept of chains from users, and that's the end goal, right? Like, why would you want your user to think about chains and bridging and whatnot, when you can just have or provide a seamless, easy to use experience? A user does not have to care what chain they're on. As long as they've got liquidity on chain, you are able to tap into that liquidity. And that's what matters. Like, for example, the screenshot I've shared on the left here, you can see in this picture, this is basically the number of tokens and chains that Uniswap kind of supports now, which is great. And this is amazing that they support all of this. But we are at the stage that we've got so many chains and so many tokens, and all of these are like different deployments that Uniswap has done on these chains, and they're trying to tap into liquidity with it. And great, Uniswap has done it. It's great. Now, you as a user don't have to like tap into deploy multiple times to get liquidity from elsewhere. You can leverage existing DeFi modules to kind of build your app and basically abstract away the concept of chains from users. So, what are the three main functions that Nexus kind of provides? One is bridge. That is basically from your address to your address. You can bridge or basically send tokens from n number of chains to your preferred destination chain. The liquidity is passed on. Essentially, as a developer point of view, once you initialize the SDK, you just have to mention the token, the amount, and the chain ID, which is the chain ID here is the destination point. And you don't have to worry about what source chains are. The the SDK kind of figures that part out for you, right? So all you have to define is your token, which can be USDC, USDT, or ETH, the amount that you want to send, that you can get an input from the user, whatever it is, and the chain ID, right? And the cool part about the SDK is that you can always simulate before you do something, before you do an action. So we've got a simulate bridge option as well. And this means that, like, sure, like, you can get these inputs from the user. Like, the user, if you want, you can pre-fill it yourself, or if you want the user to choose, you can do that as well. And essentially you can first simulate, like, and check if they have enough sufficient funds, if there is an existing route, is the token supported, and all of those stuff that is required before actually trying to send a transaction failing. So you can simulate it first, and that's pretty cool. So bridging, right? So bridging is basically from your address to your address, you are sending liquidity, right? That's what bridging means. And then transfer is the same concept, but in this case you add an extra parameter, that is, you send it to a recipient. So you can define which address you want to send it to, or where you want to send the liquidity to. Again, token, the amount, and the chain ID, basically the destination chain and the recipient address, and you can transfer your tokens. Again, no, it doesn't matter where the liquidity is coming from. The end result is the amount that is reaching the recipient, and that's all that matters. And you can simulate that as well. And you can always simulate it to view the costs and the fees and all of that. Finally is bridge and execute, and this is what I was talking about. So you can bridge liquidity from multiple locations, like multiple source chains. You don't have to worry about where the source chains are. And you can execute any smart contract function. So as you can see here, right, like you have a token USDC that I'm, for example, in this bridge and execute call that I'm doing, I'm saying that I want to bridge 1,000 USDC, right, to this chain ID, which is one that is Ethereum mainnet. I want to execute, and then I have this basically a block called execute where I define the contract address, right? Basically, on this chain ID, that is Ethereum, what contract address do I want to call? The ABI of that contract. So I need to put in the ABI, and then I give the function name and the parameters that is needed to call that function, right? And boom, what happens is essentially the SDK takes care of it for you, right? And this means that you can basically execute any contract function with liquidity that does not exist on the chain currently, right? So if a user has maybe like 10 USDC in Kaia, but they want to probably deposit like 100 USDC on to your app, which is deployed on Kaia, but they may have 100 USDC across multiple chains, but they have only 10 on Kaia. You can use bridge and execute to bridge the rest of the 90 USDC and then put in the entire 100 into the smart contract call, right? And you can do that. So that's what bridge and execute does. And you can also simulate this as well. So when you can basically create an object for this, and then you can simulate it, and you can get the entire breakdown of what it is, like what the intent is, what the execution result looks like, and all of that. And then you can actually go ahead and do the transaction, which is pretty cool. And so first of all of this, what I'm showed here is code snippets for our headless SDK. That means you would have to write in you have to code up the UI for getting the inputs and allowances, managing allowances, and all of that, right? So this is pretty cool. This is very easy to use by itself. But if you don't want to even worry about any of that, we have built-in plug and play UI widgets ready to use. Like, these are basically React components that we've built for for users to kind of just to be able to interact. So it's basically a button that basically pulls up a modal, and you have these ready to use components, which does all of the things that I was talking about, right? The bridge, transfer, and bridge and execute, everything. So you no longer have to even worry about the UI aspect of it, because you can just drop this into your React app and it just works, right? And it's a very slick UI. It takes care of allowances. It takes care of most of the other things. You can pre-fill amounts and all of that good stuff. So yeah, that is what we do. So now all of that has been covered. There might be a question again, right? What can I build with this tool that I've shared, like, right? So anything that requires liquidity, that requires a movement of liquidity, is okay to build, right? Like you can build some sort of a DEX that does cross-chain swaps, basically that sources liquidity from multiple chains and gives you an output of on another chain, or a yield aggregator, or maybe you can build like a clone of Aave or Euler or Morpho that takes universal deposits. So some kind of a lending protocol that does not only take deposits from Kaia, but it takes liquidity from anywhere that it can take, right? Similar stuff with Pool Together. Pool Together is a very simple app. If you are not aware, it's like a lottery system wherein users deposit their funds and buy tickets. But the deposited funds is like it's a no loss lottery. So the funds are deposited into something like Aave, where it earns an APY on top. And basically, when the lottery winner is chosen, they get the interest from the API, and the principal amount is still there for the users who bought the tickets, so they can burn the tickets and take back the principal amount, right? So that's a very innovative no loss lottery, cross chain no loss lottery project you could kind of build. Maybe you could even try and if you want to look into like social media aspects of it, build a tipping client. Like if you are a user on Lens or Farcast or the Based app or something like that, you can build a tipping client, right? So like, why would a user worry about if they've got tokens on the chain where the social media app is on? They just want to, if they've got some liquidity anywhere, they want to be able to tip their favorite creator, they should be able to do so. So you can build like a widget or like an extension or like a social media app itself that basically allows for unified tipping, right? Or you can like build games, so like like casinos, like, or prediction markets or Monopoly or whatever that requires some funds to be used somewhere, and you can basically pull in liquidity from multiple chains for that. So yeah, I'll just pause right now over here if there are any questions. Otherwise, I will go on to like showing a quick demo. But do we have any questions at this point?
I think we do, but I think will be more related to after you do your demo, possibly,
Oh,
because we do have a question like basically for Kaia integration with Avail Nexus SDK. What's the minimal in it to enable unified balances without native gas? I can just display the question here,
okay.
but would you think this is more related to after we do the demo, or what do you think?
I mean, there is a minimal in it to enable unified balances. Unified balances can be kind of like, does not matter. There is no minimal amount that you need to have. If you've got zero value, it shows zero value. Like you've got zero tokens, it shows you've got zero tokens. If you don't have, so if you have tokens, it'll show you have that. So in terms of Kaia itself, I think we support USDT on Kaia, but not USDT and ETH, if I'm not wrong. So, I mean, if you want to use for Kaia, USDT is the way to go. Most of the times, for most chains, and I do believe even for Kaia, we do sponsor the gas. So you do, like, the user does not need to have gas tokens to even, transact on top. Yeah, so that should
There is
be.
a second part to the question. Is there any differences between Kairos testnet versus mainnet in keys endpoints?
So if I'm not wrong, we support only the Kaia mainnet. So the Kairos testnet is not available right now with the SDK. But I can ask my team if some support can be added for that as well. But right now we support the mainnet directly. But if you want to do some testing, we support like Sepolia, OP Sepolia, Arbitrum Sepolia, even the like main Sepolia, the Ethereum Sepolia chain as well, and Monad testnet. But we can definitely try and get the Kaya testnet as well upon request.
I think they had a follow-up question. Um, do you recommend an AA preset or sample policy for gas sponsorship we can drop into CICL demos?
What is a CI demo?
I'm not too sure. Let me just, if you can maybe
But
clarifying that.
I mean, so yeah, I mean, there is no real AA preset or something or policy that we kind of enforce on the developer to kind of have the chain abstraction or gas account abstraction aspects of it. As long as the wallet that is generated on your app can be like I forgot, EIP 1993. Yeah, basically you get a Web3 provider, and you just have to input that Web3 provider, basically whatever object, like the wallet provider object is generated, the signer. If you can if you put that into the SDK, basically initialize that object, you can um, use the SDK. So there is no uh, specific policy. It's just generic Web3 wallet provider, like whatever provider you get, the Web3 provider, which is standard
Ah,
across the EVM. Yep.
I think they responded continuous integration, CI. Oh, maybe you can answer the question already. Okay. Yeah, so hopefully that answered the questions section. We will have a bit more, I think, after the demo as well. So if any further questions you want to clarify with Robin here, we will have them after the demo. So if you want to just try, if Robin, you want to just share your screen for the demo now?
Oh yes, sure. Cool. Um, okay. Just share my screen like this. I think this works the best. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can. Ooh, infinite mirror is always fun. Okay, cool. Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, perfect.
Great.
So
I'll just leave and I'll come back at the end. Cool.
okay, let me see. So I've already got a demo running. Um, Hopefully it compiles and it works. If not, I think I've already, yeah, okay. Oops, my bad. Okay. Okay, cool. So wait, I will actually just go ahead and try and disconnect this, right? Okay, yeah. So I've got a demo here, which is basically a very simple demo where I can show you what I mean, right? About bringing liquidity from multiple places, and what this demo kind of does is it uses the Nexus UI widget that I showed earlier, right? And I'll show you that in action, right? So first, I'm going to connect my wallet. It will request connection. I'm going to connect. And what it does is once I connect my wallet, I've enabled it, basically asked it to initialize my wallet, initialize Nexus with the wallet that I've connected. So I have to sign in to that. So I just have to sign a message, and it initializes it for me, and perfect, right? I get a page like this, which is cool. But essentially what I'm saying here is that I have a unified balance of 3.27 again, but this is just limited to my USDC only. So the cool thing about the SDK is that you can get your unified balance uh, across the three tokens that we support, that are USDC, USDT, and ETH. And or you can just call like get unified balance, and you can just call it for a single token, and you can just get the just for that singular token you can get the breakdown across the chains. There it is. So and now it is as like we give you the response, and it's up to you how you want to present it, right? In this case I kept it very simple. If I'm just calling for USDC, I give the fiat value, the amount of USDC that I have, and I'm showing you the chain breakdown. These are like all of the chains, and this is perfect. Or if I now remove this, like I'm going to before this was USDC only. Now I am choosing not to show only USDC. I want to get the unified balance of all of the tokens that we support. And in that case, now I have all of these. I've got ETH, USDT, USDC. I've got some Pol tokens. I've got some SOF tokens. Even we support Kaia tokens as well, and on Kaia mainnet, and on USDT as well. Like for USDT, we support Kaia mainnet too, right? So as you can see here, I've got zero right now, but we will be bridging over some. Hopefully it works. And yeah, I mean, we've got some ETH as well, all of that. And if I scroll down here, I can see some buttons here, right? So again, what we I wanted to show is like you can obviously bridge tokens, right? You can bridge tokens directly to the chain. You can transfer, or you can bridge and execute. So in this case, so in this button, like I don't have any tokens, or like I don't have a contract on Kaia that I want to use, but so I've basically integrated like Aave on your Aave on base, but I can do this basically for any chain, like basically on any contract on Kaia as well. And what this basically does is that if I define like I want to put in like one USDC on Aave base, it would basically allow me to do again on this. This is the widget. This is the Nexus widget that kind of that's I'm using. Maybe it fails because probably something is wrong with the demo, but it gives me the total USDC balance across chains. Oh yeah, I think I have to approve and continue. Or I can also kind of showcase my bridging. So I don't have any Kaia USDT. I've got it all on Arbitrum. I can bridge it over. So like I can like bridge some amount. So I need to first put some allowance for USDT on Arbitrum. I can approve that. I'm gonna confirm that. So the user flow basically goes like when I have an intent message hash is created, I'm going to confirm that, and basically you will see that from Arbitrum, my USDT is going over to Kaia mainnet, and yep, let me see, it's not filled yet, but it will eventually get filled. And yeah, you can see it is processing and all of that. So we'll wait for that to happen, right? And meanwhile, I can show you exactly how it works, right? So the project is pretty simple. The easiest way to kind of integrate Nexus into your project is essentially you have like whatever app you're building, right? You will have a Web3 provider. You will be using some wallet. In this case, for the demo, I used ConnectKit, right? And so I would basically create this this basically I would initialize the ConnectKit wallet provider, right? And once I do have that, again there's a wallet connection part, so like I can call in the ConnectKit button, or customize it, whatever. All of this is basic in terms of Web3 language. Like for every app you're building, you will eventually have all of this. But the major thing that we kind of focus on here is that uh, yeah, so let me actually search that. Initialize SDK. Okay, yes. Okay, so when I go to when I go to the Nexus SDK, oh wait, yeah, sorry, this is the right file, I think. Yep. So yeah, okay. So basically, what I'm doing here is whenever I have a provider from the wallet that I've connected, I will try to initialize the SDK by putting that in as my provider. And once that initialize SDK message is passed, like when initialize SDK function is called, it basically generates that sign in with Nexus message on screen. Again, you can do this on load, like when as soon as the wallet is connected, or you can have like a separate button that toggles this when the button is clicked, right? And that also kind of triggers, basically, once the SDK is initialized, you can now fetch your initial or unified balances. So if there's an SDK, you can get unified balances, and that's that, right? Like you can get your unified balances, or so to get your balances of all the supported tokens across all the chains, you can do this call get unified balances. But if you just want to fetch, like for example, just USDC, you have a different call get unified balance, and then you give in the parameter of the token itself, so in this case USDC, and it gives you the entire breakdown, right? And then you can display it however you want to, and that's up to you, right? And in the other case, let's go here, right? And what we then do is, once we've got the nexus initialized, I want to use, suppose I want to use the widgets that I was talking about, right? Like, how do I do that? Basically, you import something called as Avail project slash nexus widgets, which basically has Nexus inbuilt into it. The widgets is basically React components, and you just basically import the buttons that you need. So we've got three major buttons: bridge and execute button, the bridge button, and the transfer button. The bridge button basically, let's see. So we've got the bridge and execute button that looks something like this, which you would have to define, like what the contact address that you want to call is, what the ABI is, all of that, what the function is, what the function inputs are going to. Sorry, this is the ABI. Sorry, the function name, the parameters for the function that you're calling, and all of that, right? And then again, you can also pre-fill the amount, the token, and the chain. So that means you can, if you don't pre-fill it, that means the user chooses what they want to do. If you do pre-fill it, you as a developer kind of guide that experience for the user. And then, I mean, basically everything else just happens, and you can define what message you want on the button and all of that good stuff, right? Similar stuff with the bridge button, which I just used for the Kaia, where I had pre-filled the Kaia chain ID and the token USDT, and I just clicked, right? And it should have happened by now. Oh, there was an error. Let me just check what that it was. Probably there was not some issue. Let me try that again. Yep, the approval. I think it's the approval that's causing the issues. And while that happens, if it does not happen, we can figure out some other way. We can change the IDs and maybe see if that works then. Like let's see, let's remove the pre-fills that are mentioned here. Not yet. Oh wait, the bridging was complete. Okay, great. So initially we faced some troubles, but that's fine. Now we have bridged it to Kaia mainnet, and so that's pretty cool. And let's maybe refresh this. Okay, great. So yeah, you can see that the two USDT was transferred to Kaia mainnet, right? So that kind of works. The bridging worked. You can also do something similar with transfer, where you give a receiver's address, and the funds can be transferred. Now, The only thing is that I've only got USDC on Arbitrum, so obviously the source chain is only 1-to-1. But if I've got it, across multiple all of these different chains, and I wanted to use it on Kaia, like use it to bridge it to Kaia or transfer it to Kaia, I can do that as well. Again, all of that in a single click, right? Like I just click the start transaction here and just ensures that the liquidity is sourced from everywhere. Yeah, I mean, so that's basically the what we kind of do here at Avail. Again, transfer button. It's pretty simple. Let me go through it really quickly here, right? So the transfer button doesn't have too much things that you want to define, because transfer is pretty much self evident. Like you already know what transfer is, but you can always pre-fill certain parameters. I think you can also, you can pre-fill the recipient. So if I want to pre-fill the recipient as some address, if you guys have any address that you want me to send some funds to, I can do that. Or else I will try and copy this address, right? Let me try and pre-filling that. Okay. All right. By pre-filling, what I do here is it essentially disables the option for the user to kind of do anything there, right? Like now that it's pre-filled, I as the user cannot edit it, right? I cannot change this USDT Kaia mainnet. But if I go ahead and like remove this pre-fill option, like let's just go ahead and remove this pre-fill, right? Let me remove this pre-fill. So now it's just the transfer button, plain and simple. Let me close this, and now we have the transfer button. Now you can see that nothing is defined here, like the token or the chain is not defined, the receiver address is not defined. I can type in anything here, oops, or I can paste in the address that I had earlier had. But now I have to pick my chain and my token. So I can go to Kaia mainnet and click on USDT, right? And it would basically load the transaction details, it would simulate it, right? So again, I have to, because I just put my USDT on Kaia, I have not given it any allowance to be used. I need to approve and continue it by setting the allowance first. But you can also check the transaction details here, right? You can see that what the fees is going to be. You can see what the sources are. Like now, it basically picks liquidity from these two chains here. It is sending to Kaia mainnet. These are the fees that it's taking, estimated transaction times, and all of that, right? So that's how easy it is. Same thing for bridging, right? Like if I go up here for the bridge button, I removed all of the pre-fills from before. That means everything is here. But if I want to now add a pre-fill, right? If I want to add a pre-fill, let's say the chain, okay, maybe I don't want to define the chain ID. I want to define just the token, and I want it to be USDC, right? Oops, what's wrong here? Wait, it is. Oh, okay. Sorry, my bad. Yeah. So if I want to pre-fill here, I would define basically the token. The token would look something like, maybe I want to just do USDT. So, yep. So I just close that and do this, and you can see that now USDT is chosen. I cannot pick any other destination token here, but I can choose whichever destination chain I want. So it's completely up to me as a developer to how I want to define the user experience, right? If I want now the chain ID to be Kaia's, which is 8217, I can now define that chain ID as 8217. It's not a string, right? It's not a string. Yep. And that should work. Let me close that. Where did we go? Oh yeah, okay. So now we're back. Right, we've got USDT on Kaia, and I cannot edit it. Now the user has to. Now it's up to the user if they want to define. Like if I don't have 19, so it says I don't have enough. But again, now if you want to pre-fill the amount as well, you can do that as well, right? Like if I go here, the amount property, I wanna put in like 100, right? I can put in 100, but if the user does not have 100, then it shows that it's going to be insufficient balance. Like the user cannot edit this anymore at this point because they've got, like, you can see my wallet unified balance across 10 chains here is only 500 is not happening, right? It's not happened. But maybe if I keep it as 1 and I close that, it works. Like it'll try and load the transaction details. Obviously I have to set the allowance, but that's fine, right? I can do that. So it's completely up to me how I want to kind of do this. Again, if you want to deposit into Aave, I can try and do this. I don't know if the contract is still correct. Let me check. There might be some issue with how I've set that up. Let me see. Let's see if that's okay. That is quite weird. Okay. It's probably because I don't have the allowance, but that's fine. I'm going to just confirm the allowance to use my USDC, and that should solve the issue here. Yeah, okay, it does. Then let me just go ahead and cancel that, and I will. Okay, yeah. So essentially over here, what I'm going to be doing here is, let me again try to do this. La, 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 la. Something's an issue. Let's see what happens. Confirm. I'm gonna sign and transact to base. So it's moving funds from Arbitrum to base. MetaMask is lagging for me. My entire system seems to be lagging for a bit. Let's see. Let me quit this. Okay. Looks like it's an RPC issue, and yeah, we'll take a look at that later then. Try and close this. Essentially, it should work. I am having some small issue with the internet, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I think this would be a good point to take any questions if there are any, and we can move from there. Oops.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if we have any questions, please do put them in the chat. We do have, I think, one more question. The same person asked. It's like a really long question. So yeah, I don't think we have any other questions. So I guess we can just answer this one.
Okay, how are root
So
selection across the 9 chains? Can you request a quote plus max slippage up front and get deterministic free breakout? Was the fallback of a leg fails mid root or oh, okay, that's a really good question actually. So how are the roots selected from the 9 chains or 10 chains actually? It is auto selected, so we've got an algorithm basically that chooses. I think it is kind of related to where you've got the most liquidity at, and then it just ranks it accordingly and picks it from there. But Ethereum is usually at the bottom, like the Ethereum mainnet, because the gas fees are too high. And so, like, we usually keep that as the bottom. Like, we don't usually try to source liquidity from Ethereum mainnet, but from the other rollups, yes. So, like, so that's there. Can you request a quote plus max slippage upfront? Yes, you can. Basically, you would. That's what I meant by simulation. You basically get an intent back. Let me try. Maybe if it's, I don't know if it's already deposited in our docs, but let me really go quickly and check that out for you. Okay, yeah, I mean, there. So basically, you can get all of the fees, the sources, everything, like full deterministic breakdown of the fees, of the sources from where the liquidity is being collected, and all of that information through the intent itself. When you do the simulate transaction, so if you want a bridge, you call the function simulate bridge, or simulate transfer if you want to transfer, or simulate bridge and execute. And what happens is you get that entire deterministic fee breakdown and the sources, so you get the entire code. And in case something fails mid route, um, right now there is no auto retry. If it fails, you are like, the funds will be refunded back, and then you will have to manually try to retry. So yeah, but there is a refund mechanism being built, like it's there. Yeah.
okay, one minor thing, Robin, is just that the stream is ever so slightly has a slight like 1-2 minute delay, so that's why I think it might take some time for them if they if we answer the question, it may take like a minute or two for them to respond. But apparently they have a follow-up question, which is interesting. So I think we can just take this one. Any recommended timeout in idempotency settings so we don't double execute on flaky networks?
So I mean, that's an interesting question. So I would suggest you wait for the response from the SDK. If it fails, then you try and do it. That's how we kind of do it. Otherwise, it should be, yeah. Otherwise, I mean, usually doesn't take more than like 30 seconds to get any of these transactions across, like completed. Maybe if there are if you're sourcing liquidity from 10 chains, or at the same time, maybe it might take like a minute, who knows, because of all the transactions that needs to go through parallelly. But usually it doesn't take that long. Like, maximum you have, I've seen like 40 seconds. Like, the average case is like 10 to 20 seconds for like slower networks, and like the fastest is like within 2 or 3 seconds the thing happens. So like, ideally you wait for the SDK to return with an error, uh, and then you try to do the retry.
Okay, hopefully that answers your question, Sooks. Hope you got all your questions answered. We do have maybe time for a bit one more question. So if anybody wants to ask a question, otherwise I think we can end it here. Maybe give it like a minute or two for them to ask a question. Maybe the typing heinously in chat. Because I think the very long question that Sooks typed out was probably like a while to type out. So maybe give it like one more minute to see. Otherwise, yeah, we'll just chill here. Yeah, so I saw that the demo earlier, like you mentioned in the answer that nothing should take more than 30 seconds, which is insane. I think really cool. I think it was very unfortunate. The first demo, the first one, it failed, but I think the second one went through pretty quickly. It was done. So yeah, it was pretty cool. I really liked how it showcased how quick and easy it was to bring stuff over. It's not quite a bridge, but essentially.
Right.
Yeah, it's quite cool. Yeah. So hopefully this workshop was useful to all the participants who are in attendance. And yeah, so I don't think we have any further questions. If there are, please do type them heinously in chat. But if there are any further questions that we weren't able to answer, or if we've ended the stream, please do put them in the chat below, or like I think you can reply to this actual stream, and then we will. I think Robin's also tagged in the stream as well. So if there are any questions, please put them in the comments below, in the replies, and then we will forward them to Robin and the Avail team, and then hopefully we'll get them answered for you. Yeah. So without further ado, I think we can just end it here. I'd like to thank Robin for coming on board and for showcasing the demos and for showcasing his wonderful workshop from Avail. Thank you very much for giving the workshop. I'd like to thank all the participants and all the comments in the chat today. Apparently today we were looking for a pizza. So intern's gonna be very busy today. But yeah, so hopefully all of you enjoyed this workshop as much as I did, and hopefully Robin enjoyed giving it as well. So yeah, without further, I think we can just end it here. Cool. All right. So take care, everyone, and remember to follow at Kaia Chain, at Bill and Kaia, and at Avail. What is Avail's X again?
Avail Project.
At Avail Project on Twitter /X for all the latest news regarding Kaia and the Kaia Wave Stablecoin Summer Hackathon, as well as we do actually have a Discord channel now open for all your wonderful questions. So if you all want to head over to our Discord channel, discord.gg/KaiaChain, join it and then verify yourself, and then you can start asking your questions. I think it's hash Kaia Wave Stablecoin Summer questions, hackathon questions. I know it's a mouthful to say, but alas, this is what we call the hackathon. Right, so any burning questions you can just ask there. That will be, I think we are trying to push it as the main channel to get all your news updates, stuff like. Obviously, we all have the live streams as well, but we are trying to push the Discord channel quite a bit to make it a bit more active, and so it's a lot more interactive versus being on X, which is a bit of a, has a bit of a screen, versus Discord. It's a bit more like personal, it feels. So yeah, the Avail team will be there, the Dune team will be there, the Certic team is also there, so they can go. You can go ahead and ask your questions there. If need be, we will even, if there are so many questions for Avail, we can go ahead and open like a separate channel for them as well. But I'm not sure, that warrants it, but we can do that as well. So yeah, I think I've rambled long enough. So I'll see everyone. I think we have another workshop next Monday. So I will see everyone here next Monday. I guess we'll catch Robin online then. Yeah. So any final words, Robin, for the participants before we end off?
Yeah, I mean, do try out the Nexus SDK. I know during the demos, always every time you do a workshop or a demo, things sometimes break, and that's fine. But we were able to also show you how everything works and how easy it is, like using the React components, the Nexus widgets, to kind of just not even worry about UI and just have cross-chain functionality in your app. And I mean, yeah, do try it out. If you have any questions, I'll be in the Kaia Discord. I will otherwise you can also reach out to us, reach out to me on Twitter or on our Discord at Avail Project. I don't know if you can also display the docs URL here, Sean, if you can, put it on the banner. But otherwise, if you want to refer any of the the Nexus SDK stuff, you can always look at our docs at docs.availproject.org/Nexus, and you will find every information that you want to get and read.
Yeah, let me just display real quickly. I think I can actually. Go. There we go. This one, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
so just
really
go to the URL. Yeah, you can just go to this URL and you'll find all the information you need. And yeah, I mean, I hope you guys do build something cross-chain and display it. Excited to see what's being.
Yeah, excited to see what projects people are cooking up, especially because the hackathon is due in another, I think, 12 more days. So hopefully everyone, I mean, the projects it's due for submission. So hopefully everyone is busy. I know a lot of submissions will come in the last 2 days. We are still a bit early, but yeah. So hopefully this workshop was useful. We will have a ton more workshops coming up. So follow along to Avail and Kaia for all the latest news and updates. And let's see, join our Discord as well. It's just there. Right. So yeah, without further ado, I think we've rambled on long enough. So yeah, take care everyone, and we'll see you all in the next workshop. Yeah, cool. Okay. Bye everyone.
Everyone, bye bye.